DESIblitz.com.
Hi, I'm Shri Patel, and you're watching me on DESIblitz.com.
Hi, I'm Debra Stephenson from Spitting Image, Idiots Assemble, and you're watching DESIblitz.com.
Hello, I'm Sean Foley. I'm the director of Spitting Image Live, and you are watching me on DESIblitz.com.
As civilization teeters on the edge of the abyss, there's only one group of people who can save us.
Shri, thanks for joining us today. I just wanted to quickly get into your career as an actor and why you chose this path specifically.
Yeah, from a young age, I just really enjoyed films, loved storytelling. I used to be a bit of a geek. Yeah, picked up a few plays in the library and stuff and just got really interested in it. Never really took off in my early mid-20s, started thinking about it and thought, let's start going to acting classes. Applied for drama school and got into a few of the first time. It was very different to anything I'd done before. I think the normal schooling way of learning is very technical. There's rules, regulations, this is the book, this is the maths, this is how you do it. It was very opposite to that, so it was a new world for me in that sense. But I really loved it. It felt like a new lease for me. I've kept a hold of a few of those things. Some, I've let go, and I'm still learning now. I still go classes now because I always think I'm the type of person who wants to learn more, and you work on a job and you learn on that, and it's constantly evolving.
And how does it feel to be playing Rishi Sunak in this production of Spitting Image?
Interestingly, it's very cathartic. I mean, the way that politics is in the country at the moment, it feels cathartic to be able to do something like Spitting Image and really, exercise demons there that,
We're the circle of jerks. We're the party of cats. We turn hope to despair, pretending we care. And sometimes we verge on the fact. We're the circle of jerks.
What do you enjoy most about being part of this actual production?
What do I enjoy most? I'm enjoying all of it, if I'm really honest. I'm loving working with the cast, with our director, Sean. It's not the same as any other theatre job or a voiceover job that I've ever done.
Is that harder in terms of acting because you have to get your expression across just using your voice?
It's a different way of working. But at the same time, it's still the same acting, and it's still the same performances, and it's still the same performance energy that you would have to give on stage.
Obviously, we touched on Rishi Sunak before in terms of the politics and the current climate on that right now. What are your actual views on Rishi Sunak himself?
It's a difficult one because, personally, my politics probably don't lie where his do. But I do think at the same time, he's doing the best within his own limits, I think.
Do you think it's important, obviously, shows like this, where we have people who maybe are controversial in the limelight, things like that, and you're just kind of putting a twist in terms of humor? And is that just kind of lifting the mood a bit in terms of, the economy and social stresses that people might have?
This show definitely lifts the mood.
All right, I've finished my clippy. Where it says signature, do I put the royal seal?
That's not necessary, Mr. Of Wales. I see here that your previous career was in realty.
Royalty. But it wasn't a career. My wife's got a Netflix empire. Who doesn't? But I want a real job. Honest work. Roll up my sleeves. Put jammy on my own scones.
Please read the sign.
Oh, that's a lot to read. Do you have it on audiobook?
Tell me about your marketable skills.
I can fly an Apache tank-killing helicopter.
And have you killed many tanks?
None that I was supposed to.
Anything else?
I'm good at collecting checks from the government. Do you have that here?
There are going to be jokes in this show that some people are going to be offended by, and there are going to be jokes in this show that people think are really funny. And I think it's important to see in this show that the whole thing is supposed to be, as I said before, it's supposed to be cathartic. It's supposed to lift the mood. It's supposed to be funny. We are taking the mick out of everybody, and we're just having a laugh.
Were there any special things that you did in terms of to prepare for the role itself?
You've got to try and build a character. The way I like to do it is I like to listen to how they are. like to see how they move. And even though I know it's only voice, but it brings an energy to it. But at the same time, as I say, we're doing a comedy version of all of these characters. It's not like an exact impression of who they are. It's larger than life, as you'll know if you come see the show.
And lastly, obviously, in terms of the obvious, we know you need to have a good voice. But what do you think is the most important skill for a voice actor to actually have?
Want to have fun with it, be able to be free, to improvise, to really give it your all, and just to not inhibit yourself and not get too closed about it. I think to give it your all and really perform it, to like really give it a good go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm too dishy for this case. Just check my dishy face. They call me Dishy Rishi. I'm so dishy, I can say what I like. Unfreeze your wages, but add a tax hike.
Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to know a bit more about yourself and how you actually got into acting.
That's so long ago, I'm very old. I did drama lessons when I was from being about 6, but I always used to copy my dad doing impressions because he did impressions and he taught me to do impressions like Margaret Thatcher. And I used to say, when I become Prime Minister. So it really was when I was 6 years old. I started doing my act on stage, doing impressions. First of all at school, then at working men's clubs and social clubs, and then I didn't go to drama school till I was 21. I sent my cassette tape of my voices into Spitting Image when I was 15. And the producers actually listened to it. And Kate Robbins, who used to do all the female voices at the time, was off having a baby. And so they invited me to come and do some of the voices. So to being involved in it now is really great for me because I always wanted to be a part of the Spitting Image team.
And growing up, obviously, doing a lot of impressions, seeing your dad do a lot of impressions, is there one impression up until this day, either from the show or just you personally, that always sticks with you?
I collect my impressions. It's like they live in a little box, and I just put them away when I've used them, and I keep them, and I polish them up now and again, and take them out. I'll take them out and polish them up in that order. I don't get in the box with them. Oh my God, where is this going? So I still got, I still have Shirley Bassey and Margaret Thatcher's still in there. I like to sort of build upon those on the repertoire and sort of keep an eye on who's about and who might be good to do.
You have like a long history of TV work and obviously impression work as well. But how does Spitting Image differ to anything else that you've done before?
I used to love the Muppets when I was a little girl. And I think there's an element of the Muppets to this. But of course, these are real characters that we are satirizing. And
could you tell us a bit more about your actual role and how you prepared for it?
I play a few different roles in this. The favourite one, I think, is Angela Reno, because she's quite aggressive, but also quite cool, if you know what I mean. And I feel that she's got all this energy and so much to give. I just need to be given the chance to be the leader. I'm a leader, I'm a fighter, I'm a mother, I'm a lover, I'm the third member of Oasis. I'm the sister of the Gallagher brothers. I even used to have the monobrow, but as the front benches of the opposition, I've discovered that's not all I've had waxed. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. She's one of my favourites to do. I really like her. We don't always dislike the people that we take the mickey out of. Sometimes it's all in good fun, and sometimes we go for the jugular because they deserve it. It's been the challenge for me, really, is not to try to do an impression such as Liz Truss. That's sort of quite boring when she speaks. This is a caricature, and so we've got to make it really crazy. I'm back, by the way. Great to see you again. I'm sure the feeling's mutual. Not. Yeah, just to make them bigger characters than they really are. How
long does it take to actually get a voice that you're aiming for? Or do you have to approach different voices differently?
Yeah, totally. I think some voices just sort of have been there with you from the beginning, like Thatcher, and others take more work. The Queen, she's another one that's always been there, and so, and in fact, her voice changed quite a lot. But Camilla, I tried to sort of, didn't really hear a lot about Camilla, and really, you don't hear her speak very much. Probably more in The Crown than in real life. She's a tricky one to do because although in some ways she just sort of sounds a bit plummy and posh, the placement for her voice is quite far back. So in a theatrical situation where you really want to boom out that voice to a whole auditorium, and so, that sort of plummy thing doesn't really lend itself to projection. So that's been another challenge.
Besides your own roles, are there any other characters part of the show that you really love?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, loads. Where do I even start? The RuPaul is very good. Meghan Markle. The Trump is just hilarious. You just look at them and they're funny. Before you even hear the voices. Lots of voices that we all sort of do, but when you hear someone else's take on them, that's always fascinating. Like, oh, you've done it like that. I love that. We all really enjoy working together as a cast. I think we've all got a lot of admiration for hearing each other's voices.
We were actually talking off camera about the last song in the show, We Are the Champions, but it's a little parody of that. You just tell us a bit more about that and how that's going to resonate with the audience, you think?
Yeah, I think the last song, the finale in the show, We Are the Champions, is the all the sort of powerful people that are in the public eye saying we are the problem. And I think that will resonate because I think that's true to a certain extent, that there is a them and then there is an us. It's about the powerful and the people with power and the people without. And actually, together, there's a lot more of us. So maybe we do have a bit more power than we think.
And lastly, for people coming to see the show, how do you want them to leave feeling?
I hope people leave feeling empowered. I just hope they feel really entertained as well. I hope they feel that they've been entertained, they've had a laugh, and it's released some pressure and some fear, because I think we've been thrust into a kind of culture of fear. We've felt so fearful for such a long time, having to do as we're told. It's all become a little bit authoritarian, really, hasn't it, over the last few years? You must do this, you must do that, you mustn't say that, you mustn't say... Let's all just realise that we are unified, really, as an audience.
Ain't you ever read Henry IV? Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Listen, little guy, it's time to understand that life ain't a game and it don't go the way you plan. The ups and the downs, there's something you face every day, like those persistent rumors that in fact you are. Hey, pull yourself together, Mr. Tom Cruise, Mr. Maverick, Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire. You don't lose. Don't listen to the rumors, and don't listen to the haters, and always treat every dot as if it is a traitor. Don't let no one look down on you from on high. No matter what they say, you are the top gun guy.
I'm Sean Foley, and for Spitting Image Live, I'm a co-writer, I'm the director of the show, but also, the building we're sat in, I'm also the artistic director of Birmingham Rep.
And what are the responsibilities of an artistic director, for those who don't know?
I wish I knew. I've got no idea. Well, basically, I think the responsibilities are, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. But I think that's about it.
Now, in terms of Spitting Image, it was a big hit on ITV in the past.
Yeah.
Do you recall the show and any characters in the past, that you loved?
I do, yeah, I do. I was young enough or old enough, whichever way around you look at it, to sort of be, watching TV as a younger guy in the sort of heyday of Spitting Image, and I remember all the big political figures being on it: Margaret Thatcher, John Major, Neil Kinnock, Roy Hattersley, all of that, very, very anarchic, very funny, very up to the minute, close to the bone, saying the unsayable, but in a very funny way.
And how did this, the live version of Spitting Image happen? How did this concept come about?
Well, it all started with a phone call. So the people who'd revived it on BrickBox, so there was a couple of series on BrickBox just very recently. They'd had the notion that went actually really well, and they got quite big ratings for it. They thought they should do, try a live show. So the first I knew about it was they rang me up and said, do you want to help us develop it and be the director of that show? And I leapt at the chance. There was a whole process of, how do we do it? It's a TV show, it's a sketch show, it's a, so going from that first phone call to where we are now has been about 2.5 years. We've had a really great time developing the show, but it's been sort of very tough, particularly in the last 6 months with so many things changing in the political scene in the UK, that trying to keep up is sort of impossible.
In terms of co-writing and directing the show, is there anything creatively different that you had to do to kind of suit the current climate that we're in?
Because of the brand itself, you can't feel that you're behind the time. That was the key problem. So we'd written a whole show which was about Boris Johnson becoming world king, which is one of the things he wanted to do apparently. And then when he got booted out by his own party from being Prime Minister, we sort of couldn't present that because he's not the central character anymore. Although he's still a character in the show, we had to find a new central character, and then we thought, we'll make it the Queen. And then sadly she died. So we were already 2 scripts in, and then we created a whole new story whereby essentially King Charles hires Tom Cruise to mend his broken kingdom.
And how did you choose the actual characters that were going to be in this show?
Well, it's a process of thinking genuinely who's most in the public eye, who would be fun, and also sometimes thinking of great matchups, where who would it be fun to put with other people. So you went, it'd be great if Greta Thunberg met Stormzy. It'd be great if Angela Rayner met Idris Elba. The Prime Minister, obviously, you've got to have the royals, you've got to have a bunch of other celebrities as well, because that's what Spitting Image also did, not just political satire, but sending up the culture in general.
And in this specific show, are there any characters that you love the most?
There are quite a few characters I love a lot, actually. I probably wouldn't love him in real life. I certainly don't like what he's doing or his politics, but the puppet of Vladimir Putin is hilarious. Ian McKellen is in the show, he's fantastic. Tom Cruise, of course, is amazing. I've been working on it, and every time I see it or see a bit of a section that we run, or I've got a new favourite. There's over 100 puppets in the show. It's the biggest cast ever assembled certainly in Birmingham, and I think in the UK. It's the most technically demanding show I've ever done. It's one of the biggest shows I've ever done. It's a huge undertaking, but it seems to be paying off at the moment because, the few shows we've done in previews, people are loving it.
Will there be more shows like this in terms of this concept that you plan for the future?
There might be, but I'm not going to do it. It's too much hard work. No, there could be. Who knows, If this is a big enough hit, we might do it again with a different storyline. I don't know.
And lastly, why do you think people should come and see Spitting Image live?
I think people should come and see Spitting Image live because, one, I think it's a great night out. You will laugh like a drain. And two, part of that laughter that I can see in the audience is that we've had already is a sort of celebration of being able to laugh at, many of the figures in our public life who have lied, who have been hypocritical, who have said untruths, who've led us up the garden path, and it's fantastic to be able to ridicule them in front of people, and people are really enjoying that, I have to say.
For the rich, we look out for each other, and instead of our mother, and leave her for dead in a ditch.